Welcome to Spotlight on Business. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and I'm with Janice Wissenand, and this is Uniquely Urbandale for the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce. I want to welcome you to the show today. My guest today is Tiffany Tokarz.
That's correct.
Did I say that right?
Yep.
And Tiffany has a company called Muse Consulting.
That's
Now,
right.
Muse, that's a great word. Tell me where that word comes from.
Well, the reason why I named my company Modern Muse Mac is because of Greek mythology. As you know, in Greek mythology, Muse is inspired through the arts and the sciences. And so what I do with my clients is work with them to find ways to infuse both their intellect and their intuition so they can make better decisions and increase performance ultimately. So they can get better results with a lot more efficiency and effectiveness.
You're kind of like a superfood in a suit. I mean, you just kind of bring everything else alive and bring it to a new intellectual.
Yeah, and I incorporate consulting, training, and coaching into my business. So it's a lot different than a lot of professionals in my field. Because what I see go on is a lot of times they'll be a coach that's hoping to hold the professional accountable, but not provided a systematic way in which they can increase their performance. So depending on where the client is will depend on whether I work with them from a consulting perspective, a training perspective, or a coaching perspective.
Sounds like you listen well.
I try my best, yeah.
When did you open your business?
In 2006.
And what did you do prior to that?
I climbed the corporate ladder at Bank of America. So I, in fact, started right here in the Skywalk.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is my old stomping grounds. In fact, walking through the Skywalk today brought back a lot of good memories. So I started as a personal banker at Bank of America, and then I was told I was never going to make my sales goals at this office because I guess this location really struggled, and I kept doing really well. And then I ultimately was managing a bank at 23. Looking back, I'm not real for sure why my leader gave me the opportunity because I made the phone call. I had 3 managers within a year and a half.
Wow.
So I finally called my regional manager on a Monday morning, shaking in my boots. I'll never forget. Like, I was really scared to make that phone call. And I said, Tom, I'm really tired of training my managers and then having sales goals on top of it. Can I just manage this office? And looking back, I think he had to have thought, she's a 23-year-old woman. I can't give her that opportunity. He could not tell me that from political perspective.
Sure.
And I was too young and naive to know that.
Yeah.
So he said, well, Tiffany, I'll plant that seed. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, that's your desire. But I'm just not quite ready for you to take that next step. I said, you know what, Tom, you and I have a good working relationship. I don't want this to change the way you see me.
Yeah.
But just keep that in the back of your mind. 2 weeks later, he called and said, I'm giving you a shot. That's it, Tiffany.
That's it.
And then after that, I ended up managing that office and then moved to the Ingersoll location, got promoted to be the VP of our group banking sales department, and had to move to Kansas City.
Ooh.
And so I was strategizing with senior leaders on how to increase market share through the consumer bank with the product that I was in charge of, which was called group banking. So in the commercial line of business, we were able to offer discounted products and services to our commercial clients to ultimately then increase market share through the consumer bank. So I was doing a lot of training.
Yeah.
And that kind of led me to find my passion.
Yeah, put your own shingle out there.
Yeah.
Why do you think you opened it?
I love human potential and have been interested in human potential for as long as I can remember. I mean, even as a young girl, I always was paying close attention to why people were successful. And what I found by observation is that it's not the most intelligent people who are successful, but it's those who know how to use their intelligence to be successful.
Absolutely.
And so everything I do is around helping people find out what their purpose is.
Yeah.
So ultimately that purpose draws them forward in alignment with what they're here to do, because I believe that each of us, you, me, Janice included, all have a unique purpose that only we can serve.
We were created to do one thing.
That's right.
And it's our job to find out what that is.
Right. And when you seek, you shall find. And when you align, that's when abundance starts to surface.
So outside of work, what are your hobbies? What are you passionate about?
I love to do yoga. I run Gray's Lake. I love to take pictures. A lot of people don't know that about me, but on the site, I like to take still life pictures, not of people per se, but just of
Stuff.
life in general, and
Yeah.
find creative ways to position a camera to capture something that you wouldn't have seen if you were there because you were busy paying attention to everything in the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I really enjoyed doing that. I like to go to Red China Bistro and have a basil martini or two. My claim to fame, I have to admit, is they now have basil martinis on their menu at Red China Bistro because of me.
Oh, yeah?
Because I kept sending people down there, and then people would ask for basil martinis, and they're like, you know Tiffany, don't you? And so finally, they were so excited, they put it on the menu finally for
That's
me.
awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. So who was one of your mentors? It sounded like Tom maybe was.
Yeah, Tom, but actually Jim Erickson, who worked for Tom, helped me tremendously. My dad's a carpenter, so I come from a blue-collar family. My mom stayed home with us. Wonderful, wonderful
From
people.
here in Central Iowa?
Yeah. I am so fortunate to have wonderful parents. With that being said, I wasn't given any resources as far as how to climb the corporate ladder. And
Yeah.
Jim took the time to polish the apple, and it really was a full-time job, I tease.
Yeah. Now, if you weren't doing this, what do you think you'd be doing?
You know, I'd like to say that I would be traveling the world and drinking Mai Tais on a beach, but that, quite frankly, isn't probably in the cards for me quite yet. And I would say for that reason, I would be doing something in the banking industry just because that's where my roots were.
Yeah.
And because I was fortunate enough to have professionals that really took time to help me hone my skill in that industry, that's where I would ultimately be if I wasn't doing what I am today.
One last question. If you could spend an hour with anybody living or dead, who would it be?
Katharine Hepburn.
You mean Katharine Hepburn?
Yes, I love her.
I love her voice. My favorite movie that she was in was On Golden Pond.
Oh, yeah.
What a great gal.
Yeah.
Great
I
gal.
just love how she was comfortable in her own skin.
Yep.
And she could hang with the boys and yet have this elegance about her at the same time. So I think she would be an amazing woman to watch in a boardroom.
Yeah.
Because instead of demanding respect, she would command it.
Yeah, you're right. She would. Tiffany Tokarz is our guest today. Modern Muse Consulting website.
www.modernmuseconsulting.com. And my phone number, too, at the office is 515-339-9370.
Great.
I host workshops and conferences, so if you're interested in finding out more about my business, please check out my website.
Yeah, thank you very much for
Thank
coming
you,
down
Matt.
here today. Now we turn to Janice, and Tuesdays are always special
Very.
at the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce, and a little birdie called me.
Did they?
Yes, and they told me this Tuesday, not only are you making the most spectacular coffee, but you're also having blueberry muffins.
Oh, I like blueberry muffins.
So we'll have blueberry muffins and
Coffee.
just coffee, right?
Probably just coffee, yeah.
Thank you for being here today. I love to spotlight businesses in Urbandale and across Central Iowa. If you'd like to be a part of this show, contact Tiffanys Background at the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce. Until I see you again, I'm J. Michael McCoy, uniquely Urbandale.